Imagine getting paid to visit a website. Just click around a bit and share your opinion. That's exactly what UserTesting.com claims you can do. It even claims it is the ultimate side hustle. But does it actually work like that in reality? Or is it harder to earn than people make it seem? In case you don't know, my name is Mikael, and on this channel I test different ways to make money online so you can see what's actually worth your time and what's not. And in this video I'm taking a closer look at UserTesting.com, which is one of the most well-known platforms where you supposedly can get paid to test websites and apps. I'll show you exactly how it currently works, how to get tests, how much you can realistically expect to earn, and also some other important details you need to know before signing up. Because while user testing can be a great opportunity for some people, there are also a few things that surprise many beginners. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at how it actually works. So let's start by going over who can join, and you can join it from more or less all countries from what I've been able to find out. But just keep in mind that in some countries, even though you might be able to join, it doesn't mean that there are necessarily any tests. So in some countries you can find regular tests, in others it will be very rarely, but we'll talk more about the overall earning potential a little bit later. But to join you would need to go to the website. You can see usertesting.com, and then here click on this button here, get paid to test. Then you'll be taken to the sign up page. It also does have an app that can give some other options, also sometimes a little bit more options. I will show that when I show inside also. But overall, you just need to give your email, then sign up, and you'll get access for free. And you can see here, this is where it says that this is the ultimate side hustle. And I have tested hundreds of side hustles online, so I'll give my opinion about whether this is true or not a little bit later. But if you want to sign up, you would just need to click the sign up button. If you already are a member, then one thing I just want to make you aware is that when you click to sign in, you can see that the option is here to go into the user testing participant, but also the IntelliZoom. There's another user testing platform, or there used to be another testing platform called IntelliZoom, and they have now merged. So if you used to be an IntelliZoom panelist, then you can now use the same credentials, like the same name, email, all that, to log in now to usertesting.com. So this one does not exist on its own anymore. It has merged, but you can use the same details to log into your user testing account. So just wanted to clarify that in case you are confused. But let me now then just log in, and then we'll talk more about the opportunities you can find here. So once you've signed up, you will come inside, and the first thing I recommend you do is to go to your profile and fill out your profile. This means that you also need to fill out, for example, which languages you speak and also the devices you have. And what you choose here can of course heavily affect the type of opportunities you get, but don't lie, because if you say that you have an iOS device but you don't, or an Android and you don't know all that, then they will just find out, and then they will just end up kicking you out. Or if they ask you for languages and you just choose like 10 languages even though you maybe only know 1 or 2, and you then get a test in a language you don't know, you'll just get kicked out. So just be honest about that, but make sure to fill it out. But in the process also of applying, now I've been a member for a while, so I can't really show you that now here, but you can see on the landing page here, on the sign up page, it also says that once you sign up in that process, you also need to take a quick practice test to join the network, and they just need to approve that. And in general, how the projects here work, not only this test here, this is just a short little test, but in general, the type of products you can find here, or the type of campaigns, is that you very often are asked some kind of task about a website or an ad, and then you need to record your screen while you speak your thoughts out loud. So you need to just say like, okay, if the question is how would you book a trip to Paris from this website or something, and then you go around like, okay, I would look for this button here and I would click that, but that's a little bit difficult to find, so I'm a little bit confused now. You basically just have to sit and speak your thoughts out loud. It doesn't have to be thought through, because they want your initial thoughts, because it is this kind of feedback that they need to improve it, so they know exactly how users feel when they come to the websites and apps. So this is the type of task you will do. There sometimes are others also, but this is in general how it works. And once you have taken your first paid test, then they have a quality team that will review it and give you feedback. And I like this part about giving feedback, so they don't just say like, oh, that was a poor test, we kick you out, we never give you one again. They actually give you some feedback the first time and help you improve, so you get a better chance of doing better in the future and potentially can get more tests. Just keep in mind that you do need a microphone also for the practice test, so you need a proper microphone so they can probably hear what you're saying, and of course a kind of a quiet room so there's not a ton of noise, so it needs to be very good audio. So just keep that in mind. But let me just show you inside also how it looks when you can see the available tests. So on the dashboard, there is a tab called Available Tests. That's where you can see the ones that are. There will not always be tests available. That depends a lot on your country and a lot on your profile. As mentioned earlier also, some countries you might get few per week. They actually say themselves that on average, users will get to participate 1 to 2 times per week. Personally, that has definitely not been possible for me. That is likely because of my country or my profile. But for me, it's maybe once a month or something like that I'm invited. But I would love to hear from you if you're already a member, if you decide to do it. How often are you actually invited, or how often can you participate in tests? Which country you're from? Please share that below. That would be great to hear. But this is where you would find it. And you can see also sometimes they then have some extra options on the phone. In this case here, it's even with a face recording. So usually it's just most of the ones that I have seen and tried is where you just record your screen. But sometimes in this case here, it's a short test. I would get $4. So quite nice paid for a few minutes of work, just 4 or 5 minutes it says here. But you need to actually record your face in this case. So always read the conditions and make sure you feel comfortable about it. And as you can see, if you download the app, it sometimes gives extra options. Overall, when you have completed a pane or test, just make sure you follow and do exactly what they say. Then the clients, their clients, user testing clients, they will rate your recordings depending on how helpful it has been for them. That's why it's important that you actually do a proper job. And if you get higher ratings, it will usually lead to more tests. But as mentioned, you don't have to worry the first few times because they do take this into consideration that you just need to learn it also. And I really like that approach. Also, if client gives you a 1 or 2 star rating, they will actually manually review all these and clear them if they do not agree. I think that is a great extra security feature you can say as a user tester, because on some platforms a client can just say give low rates and then they don't have to pay and you actually don't deserve it, and then there's just nothing you can do. But here, if it's a very low rate, they will actually review it, so that's definitely great. But let's now then also talk about how much you potentially can earn. So it's very difficult to give an exact number of how much you can earn. What they say themselves, if you go to the FAQ section, you can see that it varies depending on the test, and that's how it always is on user test. But from what I have seen in general, you can just see, for example, some tests it's $4 for 5 minutes. Often it's something like, from what I've seen, $10, $20, $30, $50 for something that's anywhere between 10 and 60 minutes. So overall, it does pay quite well, just as most user testing platforms do, but it really depends on the project. So always just check it out. You always know before you start how much you will earn, and then you can decide whether it's worth it or not. And once you have completed the test, you will usually get the payment around 2 weeks later. So there is a bit of a wait. Just keep that in mind. And also keep in mind that PayPal is currently the only way to get paid. So you do need a PayPal, preferably a verified PayPal account, to be able to get paid. So if you don't like getting paid via PayPal, well then UserTesting.com is not for you. So overall, I think UserTesting.com is definitely a good user testing platform. In general, I do like participating in user tests because it can be quite fun, it's quite different, and usually it does pay quite well for your time. But of course, it depends on the project. So always be critical and only apply for the ones that you're actually interested in and you think are worth it. This whole statement about being the ultimate side hustle, as they say on the website, I would say, like, what is the ultimate side hustle really? It depends on your expectations. I would say it's definitely a good side hustle, but a lot of it depends on your profile and your country. In some countries, if you're actually able to get at least 1 test like this per week, definitely a nice extra bit of money once in a while. But I would not rely on this as the only type of side hustle. If you love user tests, then definitely one of the good ones that I recommend signing up for, then, because of the user experience, because of the type of test you can get here, and also the whole system. I do like that, but I wouldn't recommend using it at the only side, because then it will give limited options. So I do also have a list on my website of the best user testing platforms, where there are many more that you can choose from. And I always recommend, if you really like doing user tests, sign up for quite a lot of different ones and then apply here and there. And then in some countries, maybe you're able to then get 3, 4, 5 in a week. Then it suddenly becomes a really good side hustle. But it can also be fun to combine it with other side hustles. I also do have a list on my website of more than 20 different online side hustles, because it can just be fun to try many different things. So I'll also leave a link to that below. And if you just in general prefer reading instead of just listening to video or watching me, then I also do have a written user testing review on my website. So I'll also leave a link to that below so you can check that out. But no matter what, I hope this video helped you, and if it did, make sure to hit the like button, and also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out next time I release a video with tips and tricks about different ways to make money online.